Waves, wind, and warmth define life in the Caribbean, but also its greatest threats. Small island developing states in the Caribbean face a peculiar reality. They contribute the least to climate change yet face its greatest impacts and pay the highest price. Coastal communities, whose livelihoods depend on sea and land, are on the front lines.
Some of the severe impacts that climate change has had on the human rights aspect is that the loss of livelihoods. We've seen more pronounced droughts occurring within regions that are farms, and so a lot of times these farmers are not able to bounce back after these droughts or natural disasters.
Our villages are coastal communities, fishing communities, and when you have a climate weather-related event in terms of excess rainfall, it affects the farming communities. It affects livelihoods on the whole.
Each disaster forces countries to spend more on rebuilding, diverting funds from education, health, and social protection.
When you have 100-year events happening one after another, it impacts the ability for you to really build the infrastructure that is sustainable. And what it does, it really crowds out investment for other areas because you're continuously rebuilding what you've built recently.
For these communities, climate finance is a lifeline. Reaffirming the link between climate, development, and human rights is essential to uphold financing, accelerate action, and sustain progress.
From our side, from the government level, we have done numerous social protection measures. So for example, through the Ministry of Education, we started free secondary schools, free tuition to students, free meals, and also uniforms and devices as well, so they could be able to learn. One of the ways that we have done so is through getting assistance from our development partners, whether it's different embassies, different multilateral development banks, and even with entities that offer grants like the Green Climate Fund. So we've always used these mechanisms to ensure that we can meet the needs of the people.
Whereas $100 million may not be a huge amount for some countries, it is a huge amount for countries like Saint Lucia. The impact and investment of $100 million is going to make on Saint Lucia's economy is huge. It's not just investment in physical infrastructure, it's also investment in our human capacity. We need to build capacity of our people to be able to respond to climate change, live through climate change, and come out as winners. So the ability to do that takes time, and it takes a lot of resources.
OHCHR is working across the Caribbean to put people at the center of climate finance by raising awareness among governments, civil society, donors, and partners. Through its regional office, OHCHR helps governments design climate policies that are transparent, inclusive, and fair, and which contribute to the realization of economic, social, and cultural rights.
The time has come for us to stop and say, okay, who is impacted, and respond to that specifically, and that is where human rights comes in. The human rights lens allows us to actually escalate the issues, it allows us to quantify the issues, and to be able to program in a very real way.
Capacity building, knowledge sharing, and cooperation are key to advancing climate resilience.
I think one of the biggest benefit that we could have through partnering with the UN is just to try to build that capacity and that knowledge on how we can try to implement more human rights when it comes to our projects.
I have a lot of interaction with stakeholders, public sector, private sector, civil society, international agencies. We meet to discuss policies, projects, programs, and really identify the climate finance needs as well as national development needs of Saint Lucia. You need to have people who understand the realities on the ground in terms of the ESR issues and be able to translate that into project.
By strengthening capacities, we ensure funding not only rebuilds infrastructure, but also empowers people and communities. When climate finance is based on a human rights approach, it builds resilience, restores dignity, and leaves no one behind.
Bringing in the human rights component into it is very important because it's about people. It's not just about planet, it's about people.
We need to be together in this process, and all of us need to be on that same level of capacities.